I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Pardon the informality. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lophon, and you're watching a Mississippi Live Weather at 5 here from our downtown Tupelo Weather Center. I had a podcast I was on earlier today, so I apologize for the fact I'm not in full-on suit. But maybe it was appropriate considering the rainfall that we've had. And that's one of the things, of course, we're tracking with some thunderstorms here in the Room to Room Weather Center live at 5. Our flooding rainfall, that's what we've had for some. Still a flash flood warning in effect for a few locations. We'll look at that here in just a couple of moments. You can see our Tupelo camera in the background there. We're kind of swinging and looking toward one of those thunderstorms up toward Prentiss County. We might see if we can find something a little less tower-like here in just a moment. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard driving things behind the scenes. Drier weather is ahead. Once we get past today, our chances of rainfall are not particularly impressive. The heat is building, I think, by the weekend as we are watching those temperatures head up in a big way. And again, thank you for watching us here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Let's look at some of those rainfall totals. And the way to do that, of course, we'll be looking at those here on kind of a wider shot where we've had some rainfall amounts up there around 4.5 inches up here closer to Florence, Alabama. For those locations, again, that's where we do have a flash flood warning in effect. We'll zoom in on that here in just a moment. More sporadic sort of rainfall, about 2.1 inches close to Corinth, about another inch and a third down there close to Oktibbeha County. I can tell you for sure that's about exactly where I was at on the map. It was a lot of heavy rainfall, and luckily that has been the story today. Heavy rainfall as opposed to severe hail and things of that nature. So that has been very fortunate the way things have kind of worked out. One thing I do want to check before we get too deep into things here, power outages. And we have had a few of those reported, only about 100 down there for locations in and around the Ackerman area down in Choctaw County. Power outages reported up there, Tippah County, about 900, 400 up for Benton County, and 1,500 down for locations in Pickens County where they have been the most significant. Of course, that also includes the fact that we have some of our most significant storms close to you at this point in time. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, the typical precipitation mode. We're going to start up north here and then work our way down toward Pickens County and then back up to the northwest part of the state. We're looking in Boonville, and we're looking just south of Boonville, honestly, right around 45, the 145 corridor there. This line moving about moving about 15 miles per hour with about 30 to 35 mile per hour winds. I don't think we're talking about severe winds with this, thankfully. It's weaker than it was a little bit ago, moving there toward Altitude, Hills Chapel, Blythe's Chapel, and down toward the Pratt's community. Let's track this toward the east and southeast. We'll get, again, the speed on this at about 15 miles per hour. We're going to do a short track, and then we will extend it. Just give me a moment to kind of widen it a little bit more. About there, where we're showing. Again, I'll put this into motion so you can get kind of the movement on it. And you will notice that the number of lightning strikes coming down on this somewhat. Look at these. Watch these for a moment. Up around 400 at its peak just a little bit ago, now down to 170 over the same period of time. And so that tells us that it is in a weakening phase, despite the fact that it is still continuing to move toward the east and southeast. I'm going to extend this track out just in case it is able to hold on a little longer. Give me a moment to go ahead and mute some stuff on my watch there, which is continuing to go off in the background. And appreciate all of you for pinging us using the Mississippi Live Weather app and taking those pictures, sending those in. We love to show those. Gabe will have some of those for you here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to extend this out about, we'll say 40 miles. I don't know that this necessarily holds together all the way there, but you can see that's a longer track on this to give a few other locations more in the extended area. And so we show Boonville, of course, now 5:44 there, Marietta, and then it takes until Red Bay, it says about 7 o'clock. So maybe we went out just a little too far on that. We'll kind of concentrate that list a little bit more once again. Again, Pratt's community, we're looking for you about 522 there. Baldwin, 507, and obviously over top of Boonville right now. Hills Chapel, 532. Marietta, close to about 544. And they're eventually, New Side, about 553. Again, this could pick up maybe a little bit of speed, but if it doesn't, it's going to take all the way again. Scottsville, about 7 o'clock. We'll see whether or not that holds together that long. I think it'll probably fall apart before that. One thing I do notice, and I'm going to bring in our meteorologist Gabe Maynard on his opinion on this for a second here. I do kind of notice that, again, it does kind of kick a little east, that last little bit there, but overall kind of weakening. Would you agree with that?
I would, and just based off of the lightning strength, I mean, we're not nearly what it was before. So fun fact, Miss Maynard's out storm chasing, completely on accident, but she's out and she said it's unbelievably windy. So it is still gusty on the ground, even though some of those winds not coming in as strong. We're still probably talking about 40 miles an hour max wind gust on this, even as it continues to move there towards Boonville. Basically along Highway 45 is the heaviest of that rainfall, and all of that extending, yeah, like you said, a little bit more east-southeast rather than directly southeast.
Okay, and we're looking at a camera here in Tupelo as well.
Yeah, and this was a shot of that Prentiss County storm. Unfortunately, it always lines up with the tower. It does not matter what we do. And so you're getting some views in between it, some of those details you're making out with just some, it could be a little bit of scud cloud too, but more than likely that's just that low shelf of those storms, of the leading edge of those storms. That's going to be those strongest wind gusts, the heaviest downpours, and that's still the most mature part of the storm. So as of right now, I don't think we're talking about severe weather, but I think we are talking about a strong storm.
Absolutely, and heavy rainfall, again, when you pray for rain, occasionally it happens, right? And there have been a lot of prayers for rain lately related to that. Coming back here to the precipitation mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, how hard the rain is falling. That's kind of what this mode shows us. I want to come up here to Cherokee, locations up here in the northwest portion of Alabama. Flash flood warning, Colbert County, that in effect, as you can see there, until 5:45. The rain has largely stopped. As we talked about at the top of the show, about 4.5 inches fell. But now the rain is stopped, in all likelihood, unless there's significant reports. And look at this, I don't know that we've really had very many reports of flash flooding out of this, but because of that, I think that will probably be allowed to expire at its conclusion there. I'm going to check storm reports across the whole area. Does not look like we have very many of those out there at this point. That's a good sign. Of course, if you have something to report, you can send us an email to info@msliveweather.com, or of course the Mississippi Live Weather app has that ability to send in pictures. That's always probably a good way to do that. Heavy rainfall, lightning strikes though on the downswing of the storm here in Marion County, Alabama. You can see it kind of expanding toward the south and east. Speed on this one, similar to one we had up north, about 15 miles per hour. So as I kind of track that batch there toward the southeast at 15, again, we're looking at Gold Mine at about 516, White House at 518, Brilliant 518, Dogtown about 603, and Spring Hill about 603 as well. So again, not a particularly fast-moving thunderstorm. None of them really have been today. Of course, that contributing to the wind potential that we have had on this as well. This is probably our heaviest batch, stretching back here from Millport down toward Aliceville. And this is the reason, again, it's an extremely electric thunderstorm in comparison to others. The reason why we've had so many power outages associated with this. I'm going to double check that power outage percentage down there for locations in this would be Pickens County, Alabama, showing about 14% of the whole county out of power at this moment, and total number of outages around 1,500 or so. So looking fairly decent at this time on the power outages. Unfortunately, it looks like the number is also picking up over there in Tuscaloosa County, but only 100 at this moment and time. To kind of clear that up, come back to the precipitation mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. Most of the showers and thunderstorms, we get the storm track on these as well. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to track the end of these. So put into motion, go about a 1 hour loop on here. Give me a moment to pull that up. And track the end, so you can tell kind of when it's going to end out here. So the times I'm going to give you, not time of arrival, which is what we typically show, but time of ending of the heavier precipitation with this. And again, assuming that it continues moving about 15, it's been moving there. I'd say again, rain ending there in saps within the next few minutes, or at least the heaviest of it ending. There could be lighter stuff that goes beyond that there. But we're looking at Bridgeville there at about 517. Most of the heavy stuff ending. Aliceville 514, Coalfire 518, Dilberg ending at 526, and Stanzville ending at about 532. Again, this is when the heaviest of that rainfall is going to be concluding for some of those spots. As we wind things back out, looking back toward the west and northwest portion of the state, again, watching some of those thunderstorms up here closer to Hernando, back out toward Coldwater, coming into the precipitation mode out of the Memphis airport. You can see the resolution kind of picking up here. These are a little bit weaker. I mean, this one, a few lightning strikes, but lightning is always kind of our indicator here. We're down 63 strikes on this over the last hour, so that is a lot weaker than it was before. We'll get a storm track on that. Again, these may be 15 miles per hour. The farther north and west we go, they are moving more slowly. So actually, I'm going to track it closer to 10 to 12. We'd get that close to Senatobia about 559, assuming only 10 to 12 miles per hour. Picks up any speed, it'll run faster than that. But we're looking at Coldwater about 540 and Savage close to about 512. Again, heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning with this as well. Clearing that off, going wider there near Como, just a few pop-up showers. Same thing back there toward around the Sardis area. We'll check out a couple of cameras back that direction there. We're going to start actually with our camera that's in the Crenshaw area. Again, the heavy rainfall, just kind of that gray sort of color visible out of this camera. This one looking toward kind of the southwest. We're going to have to actually swing that one around, I think. So give me a moment here to do that. And we'll probably check out the camera down in, we could check the one down for Batesville next after this if you want to swing Batesville around. So I'll swing Crenshaw back around to the north. Of course, the bugs has been the year of the bug on the camera. There's some of that heavy rainfall looking on the north side there. You kind of see the top of the water tower that we're on there in the Crenshaw area. But yeah, some heavy rainfall showing up with that at this time, and 100 degrees, the heat index. So yeah, if you haven't had the rain, unfortunately, has not been pleasant as far as temperatures are concerned. So kind of clearing that off for a moment there, and as we do, we're kind of bringing things back down. Again, Oxford, a few pop-up showers around, nothing that's too terribly heavy, and really honestly, if I bring it in close, you'll notice not really hardly any lightning strikes out of this batch as well over the last 30 minutes. So giving you a sign of the weakness there, of course, something we can track in the Mississippi Live Weather app, and then these storms a little spottier down here farther to the south. We'll get that Batesville camera that we promised a moment ago there, which is kind of near where some of those clusters are, to give you kind of a perspective on where some of those storms are in and around the Batesville area. And again, the temperature at this time coming in 93, heat index 100, and those gray sort of skies with the clouds out there. But I don't see anything overly threatening. Luckily, these storms remain below severe limits. So as we kind of look at the overall wide shot now, and kind of assess the whole area. Most of what we have down here, Louisville continues to weaken. And Gabe, one of the things I think we'll continue to watch for the evening, of course, some kind of cool cloud shots from time to time. Certainly you've seen some of those this evening already.
Yeah, and cool clouds are the emphasis here because they're not dangerous clouds, at least not what we're seeing. So first we're going to start with some of our Scud cloud that was submitted to us here at the Mississippi Live Weather app. And again, I'm going to do the shameless plug. Please submit your pictures because you guys are as much a part of our team as Matt and I are, because you give us eyes in the sky. So looking at that, Jason in Hamilton, Mississippi, submitting this great picture there. What this is Scud cloud. Don't worry, I know it looks more dangerous than what it actually is, but it's just that lowering of that cloud base. So overall, this isn't anything severe. It doesn't show anything that is dangerous to the area. It's just a cool shot of what's happening in the sky and gives you more of a second look as you look at the clouds as you head into the late afternoon, early evening. Now, putting this back into the pictures, what we're seeing across the area, some decent dark shelf clouds. Catherine there in Pontotoc capturing this. That was earlier this afternoon as some of those clouds rolled on through, but we've gotten some great shots of shelf clouds and we're going to continue to show those. But again, a big thank you to our weather watchers out in the field, keeping us posted with what's happening, and plenty of action shots to show today with how much rainfall we've been seeing, and more of that to come into our evening. Again, all the more reason to submit your weather watcher pictures. So the first 12, those rain chances do linger into our 6 to 9 hour time frame right there. But into the late hours of our Wednesday, we'll see the midnight still about 20%, 10% towards 3, and much drier conditions heading into the forecast tomorrow morning. So your Thursday shaping up for a dry commute. I'm not going to complain about that, but we're also talking about non-severe threat for our overnight hours as well. That level 1 threat in place for parts of Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, or in summary, far away from here. And even as we take a look there towards South Dakota and Nebraska, that level 2 threat in place. But again, not here in North Mississippi. We're far away from the severe weather threat. Could we see a rogue severe storm? Well, yes, but we're not really expecting that into our overnight hours. So staying on the calmer side down here in the southeast. But looking for the reason why we're seeing so much rainfall, well, a lot of it is due to this frontal boundary that got close enough to bring us some of those rain chances, but still along that front is going to be our best threat for rainfall. This is just basically an interaction of that frontal boundary, and then also an interaction of an air mass out there towards the east that's circulating in a little bit more of that Gulf moisture. So those two things that take place, well, that's where you get a lot of rain chances, and we've seen exactly that today. By midnight, the largest portion of rainfall is still going to be down around Hattiesburg and Jackson, but some of that moisture does linger up here towards North Mississippi, and we're talking 10% coverage by 3 a.m., and that's even a bit of a stretch because we expect that moisture to continue to push south and east away from our area. Towards that 5, 6 o'clock hour, that moderate rainfall is still sticking around Tuscaloosa and closer to Montgomery, not here in North Mississippi, so we'll see that mostly cloudy commute, but mostly dry commute as well. Pushing into 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, well, those rain chances still very little. Our rain chances do return, though. Over the next 24, we are tracking at least a few showers towards tomorrow afternoon. Very little coverage, still about 20 to 30% in our peak coverage, and that's going to be happening late afternoon, early evening. So keep that rain gear around. And hopefully, if you are not lucky enough to get rainfall today, well, we're fingers crossed for you tomorrow that you do get some of those rain chances, because Manor House is in desperate need, and I know that's the case for a lot of us here in North Mississippi. That's one of the things we'll be walking through here in the next 60 is just what to expect with those rain chances, and also what to expect with any inclement weather. Our Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon walking us through every step of the way, and of course also showing a few more of your Weather Watcher pictures. Again, we thank you guys so much, and we'll see you back here in 60 seconds. I might be clicked off. Let me handle that.
Okay, see you in 60.
Yes.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
At Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical, since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs. Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lopon.
Big headline. Number one, no suspenders, it doesn't change anything. But I guess headline 1B, no severe weather other what we have, and most storms are weakening at this time. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon. We're here in the Room to Room Weather Center tracking the latest on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. Some thunderstorms that have kicked out some gusty winds from time to time, but no severe weather. It is that much needed heavy rainfall people have been praying for. And luckily the storms are moving enough that it's spreading it out somewhat. So here's hoping. Keep on praying for that rain. Here's the lightning strikes. So you can see quite a few of those around the Boonville area over the last few minutes, but notice the overall number of these. 380, 350, now down to 129. So have diminished a lot over the last little bit. A sign that these storms continue to weaken somewhat as we go ahead there. We'll go ahead and also, if you bring over the clicker here in just a second, it's not a lot of power outages showing up there in Prentiss County, that we do have somewhere in the neighborhood of around more than 100 up here into Tippah County. 900 actually showing up there in the Tippah County area at this point in time. Benton County still about 400 lightning strike, of those power outages. Lightning could potentially be part of what's going on with that there. Bring it back to the precipitation mode on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. Again, the heavy rainfall with that batch moving toward the south and east. Our flash flood warning back there in North Alabama likely to be dropped. Storm over here that we have north of Brilliant, as we talked about a minute ago, weakening and heading toward the east and southeast. I'm going to switch radar sights on you for just a second back here. Back to the one down in Monroe County, which has been out for a while. And if you've been watching us today, you'll see it's working. It came back early this afternoon. We didn't know when it was going to happen. You know what? Those parts came in. I don't know whether they Amazon them or did some kind of Pony Express thing, but it got in here and got going. This batch here that we do have in Pickens County continues to go through a bit of, well, this one's just not very fast moving. So I'd say a reorganization. I'm going to show this 12 miles per hour coming this way near Lubbock. We show that at a 524 there. Reform, of course, fairly large city. We're looking at 521 for you. Zion at 524. Bell at 539. Gorder at 548. And Brownsville there at about 609 if it continues kind of moving south and east at the speed that it is going at this moment. Kind of wind things out a bit more. Again, Aliceville, south toward Carrollton, that is weaker. I'm just kind of scanning the skies here as we go toward Louisville and Kosciuszko. Nothing that's overly impressive. Do have a few out here that are a little bit heavier back close to the Delta. But if I'm looking back there toward Greenwood, again, some that are kind of showing up, fairly spotty, not overly impressive, and weakening. We'll look out farther east or west there toward Greenville. Not a lot showing up. Check out our camera there to see the latest. I think Gabe mentions here on that looks like might have some kind of a fire showing up out there. Well, there you go. Don't know exactly what the situation is with that, but that's a decent quantity of smoke. Did they have it zoomed in this close, or did you zoom it in this close?
They zoomed it in this close.
They zoomed in this close. Have they said anything in the chat? North Mississippi Storm Chasers, our group there that we kind of coordinate with this. I apologize that I have that covering up in the corner. I'll clear that up for just a second. But yeah, it looks like a decent amount of smoke kind of coming out of that there. Let's change that back to lower left. There we go. Kind of move that out of the way. So yeah, no severe weather associated with that, thankfully. Just some heavy smoke coming out at that particular location. As we're kind of looking up here closer to, say, South Haven, really south of South Haven, close to Coldwater, Hernando, and Senatobia. This is one of our heavier storms in the whole area at this point. Let's look three-dimensionally on this for a moment using the radar. We're going to switch that up to the Memphis radar. And as we do, that'll give us an idea on just how tall this storm is and then how heavy it could fall. Because, you know, the more they go up, the more they come right back down, or the higher they get, the harder they fall. Bunch of different, I guess, idioms that you can say on that. But let's go and slice into this, because that one does look like it's substantial enough. And yeah, we do have that one, some of the heavier precipitation up to around 30,000 feet. It's hard to read because there's just so much going on in the background there. Let me slide it a little bit farther down there. You can kind of read it a little better. But my hail core, which is right there, is only up about half of the way there, 15,000 feet. So that's below severe limits. Thankfully, at this point, we'll get a track on that towards Senatobia, and we're going to do that about that 15 miles per hour, I think, for the speed on that one as well. Put that also back into motion. So get a storm track 15 or so, that whole batch there, closer to Como. Eventually, maybe Batesville, where that is heading. And in Strayhorn, we're looking at 522 for you, 526 there for Good. The Sarah community at 526. Senatobia 540, closer there to Como 553, and Sardis by about 603 if it continues at this angle. I'm going to check out that camera there in Batesville. And honestly, that one in Crenshaw is almost directly underneath it, so I need to catch that one next. We're kind of looking a little ways away on the Batesville storm. So actually might be looking through a few showers a little closer. Let's come back up to Crenshaw then and see if we can get that angle. Again, appreciate the North Mississippi Storm Chasers on appreciate them allowing us to utilize these cameras there. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we might not have the greatest shot because we're going to be looking right over that water tower, aren't we? Let's go ahead and slide that. I still have that camera up here for a moment. And yeah, we're going to be looking right through the tower. Oh, well, that happens. Well, I guess we'll get it in position for the next point where it's available over there. Try not to swing it too high. There we go. So that'll be our angle where when it appears in a few minutes, we'll have a better shot of it. Okay, with that in mind, let's kind of widen things back out here. I think we've caught all the thunderstorms. I don't think we've missed any of them at this point here. Just some spotty ones. I say that. Let's clear that, go back to the regular precipitation mode. We do need to look a little closer at Lafayette County because I think those have spiked up, especially the one over Sardis Lake there. Yeah, actually lightning's up on that one a little bit as well. So we'll check out the Oxford camera. Kind of looking out there at these. We'll see the angle that we have on that. Again, a lot of cameras, got to swing them all the right directions here. Gabe, we need to check this one, if you would, on Oxford, see where we're at, see if we can kind of make that look northwest and see if we can get into the one I'm looking at there for folks at home is that one. So if we can kind of look back toward that, we might be looking toward rainfall in the middle there. We're looking northwest on this?
It's getting re-upped. Hang on one second.
Okay.
I'm hoping this fixes. Hang on. I do want to say while we're waiting that the fire is believed to be a from a tire shop out in the Greenville area.
Really? So I mean, so it's a structure fire. I mean that, well, or at least maybe some debris outside of
tires. I don't know.
That's pretty illegal, I think. But anyway.
So
yeah, so there's the heavier rainfall from that one northwest of Oxford, and arrows kind of pointing right where that is there. So we'll come back to that here a little later on the broadcast. Let's get folks through the rest of what we typically would show here, and then we'll come back and we can do some more radar stuff after that. So again, we mentioned some weather pictures, misty in Hatley with this shot of some of the darker clouds and the heavier rainfall from this. The rainfall pretty much blinding from time to time with what we had out there today. Again, appreciate Misty for that shot there. Jason in Aliceville, again, the kind of low-hanging cloud you see right there. Sometimes we call it a shelf cloud. Certainly it's scarier looking than the reality. Appreciate Jason, our weather watcher there in the Pickens County area. That was Pickens County, right? That was Aliceville. Sorry. And then Dalen there in Tupelo, again, the darker gray, and of course that heavy precipitation. No rainfall at that location. Hopefully they got it after this point in time. Certainly we need rainfall a lot of locations. Hunter and Fulton, some dark clouds. Again, that is that heavier rainfall you see in the background there, just the fuzziness refracting the light. That's why it looks lighter there. And then, of course, a few other spots, of course. Want to encourage you to send those pictures in. We utilize some more of those at 6 o'clock and through the evening. All our weather watchers, we really appreciate that. The Mississippi Live Weather app, the best way, of course, to submit those. Gabe, you had something you wanted to say a second ago?
Oxford's back up and running if we want a better look.
Okay, we'll see a better look on that, I think, toward the end of this broadcast. Tomorrow, we're 74 at 7 a.m., 87 by noontime, and 92 as we look toward 3 p.m. on what will be, again, probably drier conditions than today, but in the afternoon to evening, we'll probably have some showers and thunderstorms. I think it might be a little late on that. Gabe, are you good on that timing on that? Or do you think, are you rock solid on the timing? For the precip tomorrow?
I feel... But
you can leave your mic on. I trust you.
I know. I just don't want to be yapping in the
You're
background.
fine. Go ahead.
I feel like, mid to late afternoon, but there could be a few isolated chances as we move into that morning, and you'll kind of see it here on Futurecast.
Okay.
Good idea, but it really depends on how much of that moisture surges in from the south here to our area.
It's a good point. So this is pretty much the exact representation we had from Futurecast last night at this time. Did a great job, so we're going to go with it again tonight. With this kind of line of thunderstorms moving in, this is the stuff that's back in northwest Mississippi. So if you've missed out so far, fingers crossed, prayers up. Maybe it'll work out for us again as we go into this evening. There, as you can see, some spotty showers there, continuing even past around the 10 p.m. time period. So, of course, we'll have latest live update at 6 o'clock, and then, of course, at 10 o'clock on Mississippi Live Weather. If there's severe weather in between, we do from time to time do quick updates associated with that there. But we don't typically do wall-to-wall coverage for just severe thunderstorms. We'll come on and do some updates there with that. Lighter variety showers in through the overnight hours. That's kind of what Gabe was mentioning a moment ago there into early tomorrow morning. Low temperatures expected to be down to about 73 degrees in Cleveland, 74 Belzona. We're 72 Oxford and Bruce, coming in 74 in Tupelo, and 71 degrees in Red Bay. As we progress throughout your Thursday, again, maybe a couple showers early, not a lot of activity out there. We've really kind of used up some of the juice in the atmosphere, but I think as we get some clearing for tomorrow, late morning into early afternoon, we'll probably have a few thunderstorms that start popping. Now notice our Futurecast here doesn't have many at 1:30. It underdid today. And as we talked about a lot yesterday, it had been overdoing rainfall for a number of days. So now which way is the bias fall? I'm hopeful that maybe that means a few more thunderstorms earlier there, but our Futurecast is trying to wait all the way until 3 o'clock to start getting a few of these going. But watch what happens when it does. You get a few to go, you have a lot more going by around 5 to 6 o'clock, even perhaps a quasi line showing up there with heavy rainfall, and again, that occasional 50 mile per hour, maybe 60 mile per hour wind gust is a possibility. I think more the exception to the rule than the rule. So high temperatures for tomorrow. We'll go about 94 in Cleveland, 95 degrees in Greenwood. We're 92 in Houston, 87 though we show in Red Bay. Again, that's partially because the clouds wait longer to break here. I want to go back here in a second. I want to check high temperatures for today out that direction. In fact, let's do that here because I feel like the models have maybe been underdoing that just a little bit. So I'm going to pop this out of what I typically do. So give me a moment here. I know we're just going to take a detour, but the boss told me I could, so I went ahead and did it.
Hey, while you're waiting,
yeah, go ahead.
Someone's asking, where's the suit? So,
so I did a podcast today down, and hopefully that'll be available here in the next couple of weeks. I went down to Starkville. It's something I had on the calendar for a while. And so because of that, I am like this today instead. Okay, now see, I think it is underdoing temperatures just a little bit, but as you can see, only 89, all we've managed to get up to there in Red Bay today. Man, I mean, come on. Versus 101 in Tunica? That's the effect of that cloud cover kind of holding. Of course, more of that moisture again with that system has been flinging rainfall this way for days. That is a big difference there. 87 in Hamilton? Man, I didn't realize we were that close to nice. I figured the model was underdoing, was a little off on that. Apparently I was wrong, so give the model a little credit. And the model, by the way, is the forecast model, not our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor.
You can give me some credit. I'll take it.
I give you credit. I give you credit on that too. Anyway, so as you can see there, so yeah, so more accurate than I thought. I've been in my mind each of the last couple of days going, there's no way they're that cool. But apparently, There you go. Learn something every day. So 95 there in Greenwood and 95 in Belzona, high temperatures. The heat index, the more important number largely, because it's, I guess, more what it feels like. And that's out here, the 105 or greater for most locations in the Delta once again. And even with that more reasonable number near the Alabama state line, still feeling like 100 degrees in Hamilton, 103 there in Vernon. So it's pockets of mild and a lot of not. So because of that, we have, again, heat advisories in effect for locations in the Delta, once again, for pretty much all locations for your Wednesday. As we look here at Futurecast going into your Thursday, so we were Wednesday today, Thursday, heat advisory still in effect, and then maybe some spotty showers and thunderstorms still into tomorrow evening. The strike model, for a change, underdoing it compared to what the HRRR is. And then you see this kind of boundary come in. It is showing up as a cold front. Is it going to get colder, Gabe Maynor?
No.
It's going to get drier with that. And so that will start eliminating some of our rain chances that pushes into and through the area. I think we'll still have, again, a couple of pop-ups possible on Friday, but notice nowhere near as widespread as it was, though it does have, again, some still around the area. But as that's forcing its way through, it's the drier air associated with it that's the story. And so that will help boost temperatures somewhat, believe it or not, if it can shove the moisture down even a little bit. So we expect we'll still be mid-90s out here in the Delta, 94 degrees in Houston, 94 Tupelo, 92 in Hamilton, Alabama. This is for Friday. And heat indices, again, probably heat advisory levels for the Delta, coming in about 103 Bruce, 101 for Houston, about 101 for Corinth, 98 in Boonville, and 99 degrees there in Hamilton, Alabama, 99 in Louisville and Macon. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Notice temperatures a little hotter for actual temperatures by Friday. Into the weekend, we start eliminating those rain chances as that drier air moves in. 96 Saturday, 97 degrees to look towards Sunday, and 96 as we go toward Monday. Extended forecast has rain chances going up a little bit more into next week. Gabe, I'm not impressed by what I saw. Any insight you want to give us on that?
Long track models just trying to get a little bit of that moisture cycling in. Again, 30 is kind of middle ground at this point, with it being 6-7 days out, because you could see that it increases just a bit into the 40%, but with it being 6-7 days out, we know how much that forecast does change. So we're assessing that in more detail the latter part of this week and then into the weekend. But there are a chance at a few isolated showers, but some of us are going to be disappointed by seeing some of that rainfall there on your Wednesday.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate part about it.
Hopefully. I mean, that's what we always say, right? 30% means, what? You get a huge chunk of us that end up saying nothing.
Yeah, so 70% dry.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so we will have more updates here coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6 o'clock. Hopefully more of your weather pictures coming in for those weather watchers out there. And what else are we going to look at 6 o'clock there?
Well, just the latest trends that we're seeing with the heat, because the weekend's still trending in the hotter direction, but just how much does that mugginess factor in as well? And walking through a few of those rain totals and what to expect for the rest of our work week and then possibly into the weekend as well.
Okay.
Lots to talk about.
Absolutely. And I think we'll look at the far extended forecast on some of the climatological stuff 2 weeks out or
Aaron,
so.
hello. Yeah,
we forgot the tropical system because we had something going on here. So all that coming up, Mississippi Live Weather at 6. We'll see you then. And of course, always available here in the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available for all those different devices. Hard to read it with that background. I need to give you something. We'll come back up here to like forecast map. We'll give you something that's, there we are. You can actually kind of read that. Appreciate that. And of course, our next live broadcast, we mentioned this just a moment ago there. That's going to be at 6 o'clock on Mississippi Live Weather right here from the Room to Room Weather Center in Tupelo. Keep it here for the latest.
See it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.